Nation of Fit and 10, it is day 11, and I am going to get right into your feedback. But before I do, I have put up the Calendly link for you to register for your second check-in. Yeah, well, actually, I guess it's your first check-in, really, because your first one wasn't really a check-in, it was just a assessment. This is your first check-in, right? This is the first time that we're going to see how you're doing. All right, so make sure that you go to www.calendly.com/fit and 10. I was about to say train on me. Fit and 10. Okay, again, www.calendly.com/fit and 10. The link is up in Slack. All right, feedback. Let's get into it. I haven't read this yet, so let's take a look. This person writes. All right, so this is under name, something specific you can improve upon for the following week. I find it hard to stick with the exact macros. When I say I was not 100% compliant, I mean that I did not cheat and ate everything according to my macros and logged everything, but I can never zero out. I am always a bit over or under. Find this the most difficult to zero out. Okay, so don't focus on zeroing out. Okay, I don't want you to focus on trying to be perfect. I always want you to think big picture, more importantly, and as I've mentioned, be within about 10% of your macros. That being said, even if you try to zero out, you probably won't zero out. I mean, let's just say for argument's sake, you do zero out. You probably in reality didn't zero out, okay? So it doesn't really matter. We want to get close to those numbers, all right? If you're close, maybe you actually are really zeroing out. We just don't really know, right? But, this is sort of, we're chasing a rainbow. We're trying to chase something that we never really know we're going to get to, okay? Or we're probably never ever going to get to. Most foods, even real whole foods, are not exactly identical, okay? So, you may have, eye around steak, 6 ounces, and 6 ounces might have, it might have 12 grams of fat, it might have 13, okay, or 14. It's not going to be exactly the same, all right? You may have the same steak and it may have 0 grams of carbs, it may have 1 gram of carb. It depends, all right? So nothing will be exactly the same. And if you're eating any kind of processed food, well, not any kind of processed food, but if you're eating bread or, something that is to some degree processed, or let's say most processed foods, not all processed foods, most processed foods, those are definitely going to have some variability in the amount of macros that they contain. So, you just, as I mentioned, think big picture and do your best to get to those numbers. Okay, be within about, if you can, try to be within 10%. Right now, I'll have you know that I'm just looking at I am looking at your numbers, but most importantly, I'm looking at your entries to see if they make sense. And I'm looking at what you're eating. I'm not really necessarily on your case, unless you're somebody who's done this challenge many, many times. I'm not really on your case about getting the numbers super close. Remember this, okay? It's all about being consistent, about being, what's the best way for me to put this? It's all about being consistent, okay? Let's just say that, okay? And consistent doesn't mean perfect, all right? If every day you're within, 10, 15%, you're gonna do really, really well. But there's certainly no hurt in trying to get your numbers. All right, let's move on. Name something specific you need help with. I would love a day of specific menu to my macros. This way I can figure out how to zero out my macros and be most effective. If I have one day to follow exactly, then I have a sample plan. Again, this is not something I would focus on. Okay, just focus on being consistent. Okay, trying to be perfect, trying to be exactly to those numbers as I mentioned, which you're never going to be really, most likely, is in some ways missing the point here. Okay, yes, we want to get close to the numbers. Don't worry about being perfect. Worry about consistency. Worry about long term. Worry about beyond 10 weeks. Okay, I know we want to focus on the challenge, but again, there's a saying. I said a saying a couple days ago, right? Didn't I? Didn't I say long-term consistency over short-term perfection? I did. I said this on day 6. All right, so remember that. All right, moving along here. This person writes, this is under name, something specific you can improve on for the following week. No alcohol. Okay, good. Otherwise, I'm doing quite well with food choices. I am approaching this challenge as my new long-term lifestyle. So I will allow myself a couple of drinks on the weekends. All right, well, listen, I'm not saying you have to cut out alcohol forever. I just want you to try not having any for a while and just see how you feel. But anyways, that's just my suggestion. Name something specific you need help with. Okay, but I do like the idea that you're trying to get to some happy medium that you can continue with. I mean, that's ultimately what we want. Name something specific you need help with. Healthy ways to add fat. I did have elevated cholesterol. I got it down by eliminating store-bought cookies. I got it down by eliminating store-bought cookies. So just want to be careful. Yeah, I don't really, I'm just going to be honest here and tell you that, well, I don't know for sure on this, okay? But from what I've read and from sources that I listen to, reputable sources, there's more and more research coming out that, if you really want to control, so let's be very specific here, actually. First of all, it's not cholesterol that you're worried about. It's your cholesterol carriers. And it's not even your cholesterol carriers, it's specific cholesterol carriers. Probably your physician is referring to probably LDL and maybe more specifically Lp(a), which is a cholesterol carrier, which is supposedly, and I say supposedly because I don't know if there's any mechanistic data for this, supposedly that is what is really something that you really need to pay attention to when it comes to heart disease, okay, cardiovascular disease, okay, your heart and your circulatory system. When it comes to eating fat, the reason why fat tends to get a bad name is not because fat and cholesterol are synonymous. They're not synonymous. They're two different things. They're both two types of lipids, but they're not exactly the same thing. Is because fat sources tend to have cholesterol. But cholesterol doesn't, in and of itself, doesn't necessarily raise LDL, okay, or Lp(a) for that matter. From my understanding, and it's interesting that you wrote that you eliminated store-bought cookies, it's more related to sugar. Okay, and your liver, if you want to talk about cholesterol, your brain is largely cholesterol. Cholesterol is necessary for vitamin D synthesis. Cholesterol is necessary for every cell membrane in your body to work properly. And we've got, I don't even think we know how many cells. Some people say, 10 billion. Some people say a trillion. I don't think we know how many cells are in the human body. There are a lot. And every cell membrane has got cholesterol, multiple bits of cholesterol within the cell membrane, and that cholesterol has a role in terms of it has several roles in terms of allowing the cell to function properly, allowing the cell to communicate with the rest of the body, okay, so to speak. It's not really the best way to put it, but without getting into the weeds too much. So cholesterol is important, is my point. Dietary cholesterol is important. Okay, don't worry about, I don't worry about fat. I watch my fat because I watch my total calories. So I do limit myself on fat, but I don't worry about cholesterol. Okay, you want to worry about your cholesterol carriers, which are actually proteins, and in particular your LDL fat, which apparently is an issue, but I don't really know if it is an issue. I think the jury's still out on it, to be honest with you. Well, the jury is out on it. The question is whether it's an issue or not. We don't know. Is there, although your family doctor will probably tell you otherwise, but the tides are changing, or at least becoming very questionable. Is there anything you would like to, 10 minutes already, really? Okay. Is there anything you would like me to cover in this week's video series? Low carb, high fat, and constipation. This is usually not a problem for me. Okay, let me talk about this tomorrow. 11 minutes. Okay, I thought this was going to be a short video. Never seems to be the case. I'm working on it. All right, on this day 11, definitely don't limit your challenges. Rather, challenge your limits. Challenge your limits. Push yourself further. For that person who wrote me and said, what's realistic for me is to, have alcohol every weekend because that's going to be more, whatever, sustainable. You don't need alcohol you don't. I'm just going to tell you right now, you don't. I know you want to have it. That's different. But I can tell you can survive without it. And my suggestion is do some reading on it and, check out everything that it does to you, including your sleep, the quality of your sleep. This is huge. Anyways, I'm not here to lecture you. Just my suggestion. Anyways, don't limit your challenges. Rather, challenge your limits. Challenge yourself. Push yourself further. You're capable of more. Okay, you are capable of more. And that's not to say that you shouldn't be proud of what you're achieving. Okay, and the steps that you're making right now in the challenge to better improve yourself. Definitely be proud of that. Keep striving for more. Okay, be proud of what you've done, but keep striving for more. Keep pushing yourself and do your very best, okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Vowing to do under 10 minutes. Next video.